native Samuel Vera invaded the comic book world by starting his own company, Crazy Comics. From early on, illustrating came naturally for Vera.
Here to share his sci-fi adventure series with us, Samuel Vera with There's an Alien in My Toilet. Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good,
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
This is so exciting.
At the Kids Comic Conference.
As publishers, need to make certain that we have something for everybody.
Very much. And tell me about this little green guy. This is kind of your signature character, right? Yes. There's an alien in my toilet.
My name is Samuel Vera, and I'm the creator, writer, and artist of There's an Alien in My Toilet.
Your little thing with Santa Claus and aliens invading Earth and deciding Santa Claus is the guy that got to go after would make a wonderful animated series.
There's an Alien in My Toilet, which is my newest project, which is a comedy series in all ages, comedy adventures.
Well, Doodie's been exploited right now because he has a cameo in the adventure of Cosmic Dwarf. He's in Doodie's adventures, he's in There's an Alien in My Toilet, he's in Hi, I'm Doodie from Uranus, he's all over the place. It's all about Doodie right now. Project Doodie! So early on, with the success of the comic book in the independent market, I really wanted to capitalize on what was happening, what I was seeing, so I wanted my own trading cards for Doodie, and There's an Alien in My Toilet. But I just didn't want any kind of trading cards, I wanted a trading card game. And so I started designing the templates for the cards, and this is Cyber Doodie. It's a take on the Matrix, and that was the front of the card. And on the rear card, I said, alright, if I'm going to have a game, and this is Doodie, and the whole idea is to get him to and from Uranus, right? So I wanted a fuel level and a power level, and then a trivia question. So there's 3 opportunities to be able to combat the other card holders. And the fuel level will determine whether or not he can get to and from his destination, and the power level is basically who, based on his strength level, it's how will he fare against an opponent. And the trivia questions are the bonus questions, and the whole idea is also to be able to have to be able to buy fuel and to buy power with other cards and trade off. So the idea was still in development. I never fleshed it out back then, and these are basically just the covers for the wrappings for the trading card game, and that Doodie rendition right there was done by Hector Rodriguez, aka Hero. I love the piece so much that I put that on the cover of the trading card.
Vera's first venture into the comic book industry introduced the extraterrestrial characters Doodie and Herman. He titled the comic There's an Alien in My Toilet.
So I was driving through the Lincoln Tunnel, and the idea just hit me. So I went to IHOP, I sat down, I turned over the table napkin, and I started illustrating the character and plotting it out. And it's about this egocentric, thinks he knows it all, alien. And he's supposed to be the best that his planet has to offer, and he's from the planet Uranus. So he's sent here on a recon mission to determine if we're a threat to his homeworld. And so when he gets here, he finds that he's not as smart as he thinks. He's not as advanced as he thinks, but he refused to admit defeat, and he's trying to survive Earth's simple life creatures.
This unusual tale sparked a series of other books, and in no time, Crazy Comics took off.
So what most people don't know is that There's an Alien in My Toilet is a miniseries, and it was originally slated for 12 issues, but then I changed it to 10. But then I realized that the punchline is the toilet, and you don't know what that means until issue 12. So I wanted to continue with Doodie's story, so I created Hi, I'm Doodie from Uranus. And the first issue was the Doodie's return to Earth, because you know, intel says that Santa Claus is the leader of Earth, and so Doodie has to infiltrate Santa's camp and take him out. So the first red cover was my first issue that I released. That was the only issue that I released back then. And this is the cover for the follow-up issue, which will be out sometime next year. So excited to bring Doodie into a new world with a new series that'll go on past 10 issues.
Well, and you have a wide selection on eBay, $3 each. There's an Alien in My Toilet, number 1, number 2, number 3. Hi, I'm Doodie from Uranus, issue number 1.
Yes.
Now that was, I don't have that one.
No, that's the when I created There's an Alien in My Toilet, rated for a 12-part miniseries. And then it ends, and it continues, and Doodie goes into his own title, Hi, I'm Doodie from Uranus. And that's the second coming of Doodie to Earth.
You're holding out on it. I'm now a Doodie fan. Now you're holding out on it.
You'll get a compliment.
Alright, now there's an Alien in My Toilet Christmas collector set.
Yep.
Doodie's Adventures #1, all ages picture book.
Right.
Now what is that one about?
That is basically Doodie as a child growing up in Uranus, and you learn what makes him become who he is today as during his childhood. Because as a kid, he has an active imagination. And he thinks he is a superhero fighting crime.
Oh, that's why we have all these kind of flashback
Right.
types of scenes throughout the book.
Right.
As well.
Yes.
All right, I like that. Well, we're gonna take another.
While There's an Alien in My Toilet is an all-ages book, sometimes adults didn't connect the dots. They just looked at the title and assumed the worst, which is why I created Doodie's Adventures to introduce the kids and make the parents feel comfortable with the title and hopefully bring them along for There's an Alien in My Toilet. And Doodie's Adventures basically tells the story of young Doodarius and his adventures on the planet Uranus. And this issue, it's a picture book, and this one was titled, it's volume 1, and it was Doodie going against the diabolical egomaniac overlord nemesis Poo Poo. So if you got Doodie as a superhero, of course you're gonna have to have Poo Poo as the anti-hero, right? So, and it worked because I released this as a small children's book, and the parents ate it up, and the parents got that for the kids and got this in my toilet for themselves. Then they realized, wait, we just thought the worst. This is a funny all ages book, and so they introduced the comic to the kids as well. So I had fun drawing it, and it's part 3D generated backgrounds that I created, and also hand illustration merged together in Photoshop to create the look and feel that you get when you read the book. So that's Super Doodie. So I was fortunate enough to have a lot of local independent artists just really honor me with their renditions of Doodie. And for me, it was so overwhelming to see how the character itself resonated with so many people, not only just readers of the comic book, but also industry artists, people that I consider peers, friends that I respect. And they really gave me some great pieces. They didn't have to. This was amazing, and here are some of them. You know, really, really awesome art. And this is There's an Alien in My Toilet is coming back. That was one of my books. His name is Doodie. He's from Uranus, and so he's coming. He's launching on Kickstarter February.
So this is going to be your next campaign.
This is gonna be my next campaign. Yes.
Oh, cool. So that's definitely a comedy.
Guy right here.
Oh, let me see that. Hang on one sec.
Oh, awesome! Look at that.
Oh, very cool. So did you have that 3D printed, or is that?
No, I had it. This is latex. I had this done.
Oh, really?
I had this done back in 2006, and this is.
I like the design. Can you hold it up one more time?
This is the bust. This is the bust.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Very cool.
And so now, are you going to be drawing this one too, or?
I did all of it. Yeah,
okay.
I wrote it. George lettered it. George lettered it, and he colored it. I wrote it, illustrated the whole thing.
Samuel, and welcome to There's an Alien in My Toilet. I wanted to explain my thought process behind bringing Doodie back after an over 10-year hiatus, and what can the people who embraced Doodie back in 06, 07, 08, what can they expect from Doodie 2022? First, for starters, the logo. You know, I decided to rebrand it. As with everything, I felt that the old logo that we created back in 06 represented that time. But I wanted something that's a little more easier to be able to place on the covers, on product, on shirts, and kept the same color palette, but just made it more square. And I landed on this one, and I went through many renditions, but I really enjoyed this one here. I think it's simple, it gets to the point, has a little dash of Doodie in the background. And that was my first thing on my list to do when I decided to bring Doodie back. So some of the things that we had Doodie on were like shirts. So here's some earlier renditions from the first launch of some t-shirts. And this was Cyber Doodie, which is a spin-off on Matrix, and that was the logo on it. And then we had a black version, black and whites, and this was with Doodie in the toilet. And so those shirts are no longer in circulation. And if I decided to do shirts again, they'll have the new branding on it. I'm still not there yet. Right now, I'm just focused on the comic book. So who is Doodie? Where does he come from? What's the whole deal about Doodie? Doodie is just, he is a kid with aspirations, right? He comes from the planet Uranus, and his father happens to be the emperor. And the general of Uranus's army is tasked with babysitting Doodie because of the father. His father's his boss. And Doodie has grandiose aspirations and a big ego, and believes he's the smartest, brightest, most intelligent because he was handed everything to him, right? Everything was handed to him. So with that in mind, you know, the general's trying to get Doodie out of his hair for a little bit because he has the responsibility of protecting the home world. So he sends Doodie on a fool's errand. And in his mind, there's nothing that can happen because he's sending him to that third rock from the sun, right? They know that Doodie will be fine. Because nobody believes in extraterrestrials on that planet, so they're not gonna bother with him. At least that's what he thinks. So Doodie heads off to Earth. And from the moment he crash lands, the adventure begins. So why Kickstarter? Because it's very different now than it was then. You know, when I first started Crazy Comics, I had no mentor, I had no one to guide me, point me in the right direction. I had credit cards. I had credit cards with huge amounts of money. I don't know what the banks were thinking, but they gave me these platinum cards. I was young, I had great credit because I never had a credit card, and I just went crazy. So I put everything on the card. So at that time, I just ran up debt. And, you know, whether it's from the merchandising to the plastic bags, to the bookmarks, to the trading cards, to the hats, the shirts, the sweaters, whatever it was, it went on the card. Fast forward, you know, 15 years later, whatever it is, I'm smarter, and I have a family, so I have to be very mindful of that. So Kickstarter is the obvious choice. And the whole goal is really to get it into a lot of hands. Doodie at conventions does extremely well. There's an Alien in My Toilet does extremely well at conventions. I'm hoping to emulate that on Kickstarter. I'm hoping to see the same reaction, because what you will get from this series is a lot of laughter, fun, nostalgia, right? You can relatability. You'll be able to relate to a lot of the characters in the series. So on Kickstarter, we're starting with issue number 1, which is First Flush. There's going to be several covers, cover A, B, and C, potentially D. I haven't decided that yet, but there's A, B, and C. And you've seen on the web, on social media, I've been posting one of the covers, which is the Rambo Doodie, right? And he's got the big machine guns, and it's a spin-off of Rambo. But we're starting with issue 1. And in this campaign, there's going to be a coloring book, the guidebook to Doodie and Friends, the trading cards, a bookmark, some stickers. What am I looking to see happen with Doodie? That's a great question. Definitely the goal is to get There's an Alien in My Toilet into stores. So if you're a retailer out there, I'm going to have a retail special on the campaign. So please take advantage of that retailer special. There's incentives for you as a retailer to pick up the book and put it on your bookshelves. Right now, my primary focus is to get it into readers' hands, into as many comic book shops as possible. The collected edition will definitely go to bigger stores like Barnes & Nobles and Walmarts and Targets. That's the ultimate goal for the end of the year. So you can see here, there was the previous graphic novel for There's an Alien in My Toilet back in 2006 that was in stores, but it was in black and white. So now it's going to be available in color. And all that's going to be possible because of you. Really, it's because of you. So I wanted to take the time to thank you for joining me on the first part 2 of this series, the history behind There's an Alien in My Toilet. And I'm inviting you to join me on future episodes as I walk you through the creative process for drawing Doodie, drawing with me, hopefully, and learning more of what's to come from Doodie. So this is a mini series. It'll go on every week until the campaign launches. So from Doodie and me, from me and Doodie, or Doodie and I never get that right. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope you join the ride and become an official. So that's a good one. What should it be? Doodster. Yes, be an official Doodster. Are you gonna be a Doodster? If so, leave a comment below and let me know that you're a Doodster and you're going to be there for the campaign. I'm Samuel. I appreciate you.